All right, everybody, we're back. Episode 2, You're Wrong podcast. Today, we're going to be going over basically what happened on Tuesday and Wednesday. We're going to touch on the Champions Classic. We're going to touch on a couple other key games. And yeah, let's get into it. So, my name's Jake.
Julian.
And like I said, we're back. It was a fun opening night. And then yesterday there were some good games, but nothing really crazy.
Definitely a good sign of things to come for this upcoming season.
Definitely liked what I seen. So let's start off with the Kansas-Michigan State game, huh?
Yeah, I like that.
All right.
So my biggest takeaway from this game was the improvement I saw from Ochai Agbaji. You know, I might be reaching here, but he showed flashes of being an NBA player. You know, he's got the intangibles too. He's got a 7-foot wingspan, 6'6". He's got a good build. He can shoot. He can defend. You saw him active in the passing lanes. He had 29 points on 53% shooting. You know, that's not something we would have saw from him a year ago, and that was probably my biggest takeaway from this game.
Yeah, for sure. I also think for Kansas that I think Remy Martin transferred in 5 for 9 field goal, 15 points, 6 rebounds. I think what he did with his opportunities was good. You need a guy who's going to be efficient and make his shots. If he went 1 for 9, 2 for 9, that's not really efficient. He helped his team win, I really think. Another thing I noticed from Kansas is Zach Clements. You might not know him. He was the freshman that checked in with for 4 minutes. It was a hard 4 minutes though. That was a big momentum swinger for them. He made a layup. He got a stop down on the defensive end, pushed it, transition 3. He did some big things in 4 minutes. I think he should take pride in that because that'll earn him more playing time down the stretch for sure.
Yeah, no, I like what I saw from him, especially because of what I saw out of Christian Braun and David McCormick. You know, I came into this game expecting them to take a huge leap, especially Christian Braun, but he looked lost out there. He didn't look confident. He wasn't dribbling with a purpose. And I think for Kansas to be a serious contender, they're going to need some serious contributions from both Braun and McCormick.
For sure. I think that was a good way to start the season for them though. Besides that, Michigan State, I just don't think they looked good at all. I think they need to get better. I wanted to key in on Max Christie. I think that he's a true freshman. I think he'll adjust. I think he was highly rated coming in. I think there was a lot of pressure on him. I think he shot 3 for 10, 4 for 10, something not too good.
9 points, 3 of 10 shooting.
Yeah, I don't think we should overreact though. I think he'll get better. AJ Hoggard off the bench though, he gave it his all. I think he kept them in the game. If not, it would have been a blowout. I think.
That's exactly what I had. I had definitely keyed in on AJ Hoggard because they were talking about his improvement too, how he lost 20 pounds and was a lot better shape. 17 points, 8 of 13 shooting, and I said he was the only reason that game wasn't a 30-point blowout because Tyson Walker, you know, they needed him to kind of man the ship at point guard, bringing him in from Northeastern. He didn't do anything. 2 points, 3 turnovers. And the bench guys stepped up, Hoggard and Julius Marble, with 13 points, 7 rebounds, and he got to the free throw line by playing hard. So, you know, biggest takeaway, bench guys stepped up. Michigan State don't have an identity as of right now. They definitely got to work on that as they get the Big Ten play.
Also, another thing, I just noticed Joey Hauser is so bad. It blows my mind. He just isn't good, bro. I think he shows signs of being good throughout seasons that he's played, but he just in big games, he's just not it, bro. He just needs to graduate, bro.
He doesn't do anything, bro. He came from Marquette. And they were oh my, Michigan State, they got a shooter now, but he doesn't do anything. He can't create for himself. His three isn't as good as it was at Marquette. You know, it's just, I don't know. Like you said, he's got to graduate.
Yeah, he's got to go. I don't think there's anything. I don't think he can improve. He's too old. I just think it's over, honestly, at this point.
Agree.
But yeah, that's pretty much all I got for that game. I was kind of more locked in on the late game, so if we want to transition into that, I'm with it.
For sure, yeah. Let's get into it.
All right, so Good Duke win. I love starting the season off on a win. Paulo, he is super tough. Like, I'm not even being biased right now. He's really good, bro. I mean, 22-7. If he didn't go 0 for 3 from the three, he's 7 for 8 from the field. That's efficient. That's literally as much as you can ask for out of a freshman. He looks ready for the NBA. He's another guy who you could say he looks like he could get put in an NBA game. You put him on, say you put him on like the Rockets. I think he would still do the same thing. Obviously not to that extent, but I think you put him on an NBA team, he goes and gets his and does what he has to do. I think Trevor Keels was also very good. 25, 10 for 18 shooting. I think they're going to be a duo. I think it's going to go crazy this year. Also, like what Wendell Moore did. I think Wendell Moore improved. He looked scary. I think he dropped a low-key amount of points last night or 2 nights ago, sorry. But he was efficient. I think he was also 6 for 10 or something crazy like that. Very efficient.
Yeah. So my biggest takeaway from this game was Duke, and I get it's one game, first game of the year, but I think Duke established themselves as the best team in the country, not one of the best team in the country. Like you touched on, Wendell Moore, he might be in a breakout year. He had 12.6 of 10 shooting, and he did everything for Duke, too. As you saw, he was getting after it defensively. He was rebounding the ball.
Yes.
And Paulo Banchero, like you said, 22 points. I was thinking about this, too. Just by the way, 6'10", he looks so comfortable first game in the Garden. I think this might be a hot take. I think in 10 years, he's going to be the best player in the NBA. That's just what I saw from him. He'll be the best player in college basketball this year. And Trevor Keels too. You mentioned the scoring and everything, but he held Ty Washington, their Kentucky's 5-star recruit, to 9 points on 3 of 14 shooting. So I like what he did offensively, but especially defensively. And I think he might have established himself as one of the better two-way guards in the country, if not the best.
Yes, for sure. Yeah, like you said, Kentucky I think Ty Washington looked scared. I just don't think he looked comfortable on the floor. I mean, you're in front of a big crowd. He's probably been in front of big crowds before, but it's the Garden. Like, that place is rocking, especially when someone on the other team scores. You know, there's a lot of Duke fans in there. Probably a lot of Kentucky fans in there too, but it's just unmatched. The Garden, just a different atmosphere. Kentucky takeaways for me, I think Oscar Tshiebwe, like I said, like last episode, I think he was going to come in and make an impact. The transfers were going to be the key to Kentucky winning this year. And although they didn't win, I do like what I seen from him. He grabbed 19 boards and had 17 points. I mean, that's what you want out of a guy like that. He looked comfortable out there. If he made more of his layups, he would have had 30 points. Like, it would have been bad. Duke needs to get better rebounding the ball. And yeah, if they don't rebound and if they don't board up, it's going to be a long season for them. Like, they're not going to be able to score at will like that every night. Sometimes you have slumps, you know what I mean?
Yeah. And that's the most impressive thing I thought about Tshiebwe's 19 rebounds was Mark Williams. You know, he's 6'11", Banchero is 6'10", and Coach K, you know, he always has his guy crashing the glass. So the fact that he grabbed almost 20 rebounds is very impressive. I like what I saw from Severe Wheeler for the most part. 16 points, 10 assists, double-double. He was kind of man in the ship for Kentucky, but there were times where I thought he was doing a little too much, you know, like pushing the ball when they didn't have numbers, a little too erratic, out of control with the ball. He had 7 turnovers. So I definitely like what I saw from him, but maybe just chill out a little bit, you know, if they don't have numbers, slow it up, run their sets. But no, I like what I saw from Kentucky. I don't think this was a loss they should hang their heads on. I think there's definitely a promising season.
No, it definitely wasn't. It definitely wasn't. I think that down the stretch, they'll learn how to play together. I think they'll start trusting each other. I think they trusted each other for the most part, but I think Wheeler, like you said, was erratic. I think he sometimes tried to force passes that weren't there. But all around, it wasn't a good game for either team, but it was good for them there's a lot of freshmen on the floor. I think the transfers had stuff to prove. So I think that the transfers stepped up and proved what they had to do. I don't know. I think Duke obviously looked better. They won the game, but they got to shoot the three better though, man. Like 1 for 13, 1 for 13 from the three. You're going to lose games if you do that in the ACC. You know what I mean? You're going to have teams that outshoot you. They got lucky. They were all over the glass, the offensive glass and stuff like that. But Do you think that both of these teams can be an Elite Eight team? Is that possible, or one or the other?
Duke, I definitely think can, just because they're going to improve as the course of the season goes on. And what we saw last night, if they or 2 nights ago, if they can improve from that, then the ceiling is limitless. Kentucky, just because they don't have a backup big man. Sheway, he gets after it on the glass, but he gets into foul trouble a lot. We saw it at West Virginia, picking up 2 early fouls. Lance
I
Ware,
heard him. Yeah,
he wasn't really doing anything for them.
I'm not high on him, bro. He had the
So,
one big block, but I mean, rim protecting is a lot of people can protect the rim nowadays. You know what I mean? Trevor Keels can play defense. You can't just have a big that's just a pure defender. He needs to get implemented in the offense, which I don't know if that will ever happen because I just don't see it happening. I haven't seen him really show me any flashes of offense in the past years. You know what I mean?
That's what I mean. I think Kentucky is definitely going to have a good season, but the Elite Eight, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough without that backup big to.
So where would you say that they make it to?
It kind of depends, how they roll with their season. If they can get some momentum into SEC play in the SEC tournament, I can see them, because they have shooters now. They have Kellen Grady, CJ Frederick. He was hurt. He didn't play 2 nights ago. So they have shooters. I would say their ceiling is the Elite Eight for me. I would say that's their ceiling. If they got to the Elite Eight, that would probably be the best possible outcome for their season. But who knows? You never know. Yeah. You never know what can happen.
It would be a big turnaround from last season, for sure.
No doubt.
So switching gears, Champions Classic, definitely a good one. Good games this year, as expected. But man, Ohio State, like I said, I don't know. They didn't impress me at all. I think Akron always plays very well. You know what I mean? Akron's just they're a good mid-major team, good MAC team. But Ohio State, man, I don't know. You can't be getting grilled by dudes in the MAC. You can't. Especially first game. You guys lost to Oral Roberts last year. It's not picking up on a good note. You know what I mean? I think Liddell was big down the stretch for them. I think that he hit key shots. I seen him hit a 3 that was kind of crazy. I think that
he hit a lot of crazy shots.
Yeah, I think he had an and 1 if I'm not mistaken. That was kind of crazy too. It was electric, but I think Ali from Akron was definitely working him too as well. 6 for 11, 17 points. That kid from Akron played his heart out. They all did. They were hitting big shots to keep them in the game. Yeah. So
EJ Liddell, he had a double-double. He's probably going to finish as a candidate for Big Ten Player of the Year. But the biggest question, like we touched on in the first episode, was who's going to step up. Who else do they have?
Yeah.
CJ Walker, he's gone. He's not there anymore. He kind of controlled their whole offense. Dwayne Washington was their big shot maker. So now for the Buckeyes, it's who else can step up. We saw Zed Key down the stretch, but is he going to be a big contributor? Michi Johnson, he was non-existent. Justin Ahrens, Jamari Wheeler, he played 30 minutes. He had 2 points. So it's going to be, where's the guard play going to come from and who's going to step up in the absence of the guys who graduated. The biggest player I noted was Malachi Branham. He didn't shoot the ball that well. I think he shot 3 of 9, had 9 points, but he looked the most confident and comfortable with the ball. And I think Chris Holtman, if Michi Johnson and Jamari Wheeler, they can't get it going, I think Malachi Branham, he's got to be the next guy up because he looks hungry. And I think that's what the Buckeyes, they need a spark.
For sure. I think Zed Keed was good down the stretch for them. He obviously hit the big shot at night. I think Ohio State's guards just need to be better, man. 28% from 3, 68% from the line. That can't happen from guards. You know what I mean? Yeah. Mostly guards shooting threes. You can't shoot under 30%. You're not going to win a game. They won the game, but you're not going to do that against good competition. That was Akron. Not to really downplay Akron's basketball, but when you go up against another Big Ten team that shoots 45 from the 3 and you're shooting below 30, it's just not going to work out in your favor.
There's definitely a lot of red flags for Ohio State after that game. Hopefully they can get it figured out because it doesn't get a lot easier from here on out.
For sure, for sure. All
So
right.
let's get into let's get into my boys, Eastern Michigan versus Indiana.
All right. You can start off on
So
this one if you want.
yeah, so I was in love with what I saw in the first half. They were moving the ball, they were playing through Trace Jackson Davis, they were defending well, they were playing with energy. And then in the second half, I didn't even watch the start of the second half, but I saw it was like a 4-point game. I was like, what's going on?
Yeah.
Where was the supporting cast? You know, they were 4 of 24 from three as a team, and they brought in Miller Kopp from Northwestern. He's got to hit shots for them. He has to hit threes. He has to space the floor to
Yeah.
create for himself and to create for Trace Jackson Davis, their best player. And Race Thompson, I think he needs to complement Trace Jackson Davis as more of like a high-low look instead of shooting 0 of 4 from three. You know, that's not Race Thompson's game. And just as a look ahead for Indiana, they're playing St. John's and then they're on the road against Q. So it's not going to get easier from here, and they need to not play how they did in the second half against a lowly Eastern Michigan team. But for the Wooden Award future, Trace Jackson Davis, 21 points, 14 rebounds, 9 of 14 shooting, definitely looked good. I definitely liked what I saw, and hopefully he can keep it up.
For sure. He definitely looked electric. I mean, I was like, oh, holy crap. Like, Jules might not be wrong right now. Like, this dude looks good. Granted,
Yeah.
it's Eastern Michigan, but he was all over the glass. He was blocking shots. He was doing big things for them. I thought Indiana was going to pull away at one point. I stopped watching the game as well. But as we know, they let him hang around. You can't let teams hang around like that, especially Eastern Michigan. Their best player, Noah Farrakhan, he was a highly rated recruit out of high school. He just bounced around from IMG to St. Patrick's and stuff like that. But he transferred in Eastern Michigan this year. He started 0 for 11. Like, that's really bad. I mean, I get it's your first game against a big school, but he should be built for that. You know what I mean? I think he made big threes though down the stretch in the second half when they needed. I think he went 3 for 3 at one point from the three, like back to back, which really helped them get it together. But I think he needs to trust his teammates more. I think he finished with 0 assists, if I'm not mistaken. I just think he needs to be more passive. I'm not going to really watch that much Eastern Michigan, but if he dunks on somebody, it's going to be on ESPN because he was a highly rated recruit and he's got clout behind him. So if he dunks on somebody or something, it's going to be on Sports Center or some type of hoop.
For sure, you'll see it. But like we mentioned, Indiana got to be better. You need to see more of the first half effort than second half for me to be all in on them as a Big Ten contender.
Yep. Trace Jackson Davis, man. That's all you got to know, I guess, about Indiana. It's really all you got to know.
Yep.
All right. So let's get into Houston. Talk about your guys over in Houston.
Yeah, so what I know, because they went down early against Hofstra too at home. You know, you don't like to see that. And what I noticed the most, and what I can't believe I didn't realize before, was they're just not the team they were from last year. You know, like they lost Bryson Gresham, they lost Justin Gorham, and they lost Ejon Giroux. That's not good. You know, that those were key contributors for a team that went to the Final Four and hung around with Baylor for a little bit. So I think guys like Reggie Chaney and Fabian White have to step up to replace them. And, you know, obviously Marcus Sasser, he needs to take over for them to even contend for the American. Yeah. You know, I think he had like 25 points. He definitely played well, but he needs to take that next step. This is his team now. And he needs to step up, you know, because they lost Quentin Grimes too. So the scoring, I just think they have to be better. They have to be better rebounding the ball. They have to be better shooting, defending across the board. And I would say after night one, Memphis looks like the favorite, you know, because they didn't mess around with a lesser opponent. But at the same time, you can't count out Kelvin Sampson with the defensive mind and just what he's done for Houston in the past. You know, you can't count him out. He'll figure something out with the guys he's got.
For sure. I was definitely confused that they went to overtime at Hofstra. I actually didn't watch the game. I watched the game after the fact though. I watched some highlights and whatnot. I just think that they can't do that against Hofstra. They can't play with their food. Like, who's even on Hofstra? Like, I can't name somebody. Like,
exactly.
I think Taz Moore, from what it looks like, what I've seen in the highlights, it looked like he played a good game, and his matchup kind of grilled him. He would be better on defense, I think. he was the savior of the day from what I see. He had big shots for them. And yeah, like you said, Marcus Sasser just needs to lock in. This is his prove it year, like you said. So he also can't be missing back-to-back free throws, only up 8 points in overtime. You know what I mean? I seen that in the box score, and I was like, what the hell? He just missed 2 free throws. Like, that's kind of bad for him. He's definitely has to lock in, I think. But yeah, overall, I think Houston just needs to be better. There's not really any really good takeaways from that game. But
definitely not. Yeah, no, just the fact that, guys graduate and then guys step up. It's next man up. So you can't be playing around with Hofstra like that if you want to contend for the AAC and return to the Final Four like they have hopes to. For
sure. A team I think that didn't play with their food was definitely Texas. I think Texas definitely didn't play with their food. They played Houston Baptist. Obviously, it was a huge victory, but it's still Houston Baptist at the end of the day. They shot 64% from the field, 60% from three. Like, that's kind of mind-blowing. Once again, still Houston Baptist, but it's still basketball at the end of the day. They hit shots. They did what they had to do. They moved the ball. They trusted each other. There were 6 guys in double figures. I think Chris Beard, that's all he can ask for. They're just trusting each other. And I think Marcus Carr was a big part of that. He was being a willing passer. He wasn't being selfish. He knew it was Houston Baptist. He knew he just had to get the job done.
Yeah. And, like we touched on in the first episode, I think because they had Kai Jones last year, Greg Brown, Jericho Sims, athletic big men. I think this year it's going to be a guard identity. Marcus Carr, Courtney Ramey. I don't know about him, but Andrew Jones.
Played good, though.
Yeah, no, he did. Chase Fevers off the bench, Andrew Jones. So it's definitely going to be interesting to see how they grow as a team throughout the year. And we have a look ahead for them. We'll talk about later on in the episode. It should be a good one.
Yeah, for sure. So that's all I got on Texas. Honestly, there's nothing bad to say about their game.
Yeah,
they didn't do anything wrong on defense.
They checked every box. They definitely
for sure. As they should. It's Houston Baptist. I don't like to keep beating the dead horse here, but it's Houston Baptist at the end of the day. Yeah. I don't even know if they're a tournament team, to be honest. I don't know much about them, to be honest. So
probably not.
Yeah. So what other games are we going to touch on? We're going to touch on Michigan Buffalo, right?
Yeah.
All right. So I think Buffalo played hard. I think they're going to be a contender for the MAC this year. Mm-hmm. I really liked what I seen from their forward, Williams. He had 32 points. It's kind of crazy for a first game. I mean, he averaged 18 last year, but 32 still 32. That's a lot of points. It's a lot. You got to make a lot of shots to get 32. People don't realize.
Yep.
I think Michigan's got to be better. Their guard play has to be better. It just wasn't there. I like what they did with Caleb Houston, though. He's a freshman coming in this year. 11 points, 4 for 7 from the field, 6 rebounds, 2 assists. I think that's a good game for a freshman. You know what I mean? He hit his shots when he needed to. I think he rebounded the ball well. Got 2 assists also. I think he's playing all right basketball. He has a ceiling to get better though too. But that's a good outing for him. Although it is Buffalo. Buffalo's a good contender in the MAC, and they can beat these high major teams. But I think Caleb Houston definitely played good. I think Hunter Dickinson was still him. You know what I mean? Still did his thing. 27 points, 6 rebounds. He needs to rebound better for sure. But I think that they played really well. I think he needs to play some defense too. He needs to play a little bit of better defense. And I don't really have anything about Buffalo. They just came out of the woodworks and kind of played hard.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a competitive game, which we kind of expected. Michigan, they got up early, and then Buffalo crept back in the game, and then Michigan, they put them away. Well, my biggest takeaway was Eli Brooks. He's the next senior up.
Bro, it's crazy? I literally have that written down. I said Eli Brooks needs to fill this role and be aggressive. But I didn't want to say. I wanted you to talk a little bit. I figured we got similar minds. You'd have something
Yeah.
about him. So I'm just going to touch on whatever you say about him, but
Yeah,
that's
no, for
funny.
sure. He's the next senior up. Mike Smith, they brought him in as a fifth-year guy. He's gone. You saw guys like Xavier Simpson, they had a great senior year. So now this is Eli Brooks. This is his senior year, and he's got to step up. He's got to do everything for them. He's got to score the ball. He's got to facilitate, and he's got to play good defense, especially with all the good guards in the Big Ten. Like you touched on, 5-star Caleb Houston, he looked like a fifth-year senior. He didn't stuff the stat sheet. He had 11 points, 2 of 4 from deep with 6 rebounds, but he only turned the ball over once, and he played almost the whole game. So I definitely like what I saw from him. There's definitely a lot more room for improvement and potential for him. So I definitely liked what I saw. Terrence Williams was also huge off the bench, 15 points, 5 of 7 from the field. Michigan, they're going to play around Hunter Dickinson. So that means guards are going to have to step up, especially because they lost guys like Livers, like Wagner, like Mike Smith, like Sean D. Brown. And the biggest question is who's the next man up? Who's going to replace them? And they didn't blow Buffalo out like I would have liked to have seen. But at the same time, Caleb Houston, he looked comfortable. Eli Brooks, he'll get going. And Terrence Williams, if he can provide that spark off the bench, then Michigan, we should see a lot of what they did this year.
For sure. Yeah, just to touch on Eli Brooks again, he definitely needs to be more aggressive. He only had 11 points, 5 for 8 from the field, 4 assists. That's a solid night for a veteran point guard. But I think he needs to be better. You know what I mean? He needs to take that next step up. He needs to take that leap. I think he needs to help his team be better and blow a team out like Buffalo. You know what I mean? He could easily go get 20 plus points. I just think it's a matter of him going and doing that. I think that maybe he wanted to get his teammates involved early, you know what I mean? Not try to be that guy to take over. I don't know exactly what he was thinking, but he was all right. He needs to be more aggressive.
I think it'll come as the season goes on. He'll realize all right, this is my senior year. I really got to lock in. I think Juwan Howard, he's a good coach, and he'll definitely get his guys on board.
Yeah, I think for sure that'll happen too.
So we covered pretty much every game. For Bucci, Florida State, they blew them out. They blew out Pennsylvania. We expected that. We were overthinking a little bit.
I mean, I personally before the game, I was gonna bet it, but I was looking at it, and I'm like, I don't know much about Penn. You know what I mean?
And the ACC, is kind of
shaky right now. We got dudes losing in the ACC. That shouldn't happen. I don't want to once again say mid majors are bad because they're not bad. They got returning guards. They got chemistry. You know what I mean? But I think these highly rated recruits should be blowing guys out no matter what. There's NBA prospects on these ACC teams. You know what I mean? They should be blowing dudes out.
Which was good for Florida State. They didn't mess around. They got them in, they got them out. So I think they definitely asserted themselves as probably a top 3 team in the ACC for sure.
For sure. I think it goes
Duke is up here. I don't even know if we can count that.
I mean, kind of like Jim said in our group chat, it's Duke, and then there's piles of shit, and then it's Syracuse, you know what I mean? All those other teams. But I mean, I like what I've seen from the top half of the ACC, bottom half, not really. As expected, though. I think UNC needs to be better. I don't really want to harp on UNC because obviously it's just non-conference games, but UNC needs to be better for sure.
Yeah, no, I know. So let's talk about this weekend. We got Villanova, UCLA, and then on Saturday we got Texas, Gonzaga. Let's talk about those games a little bit. So
Villanova, UCLA, that's going to be a good one. I think that's two very well coached teams.
Yeah,
I want to see if UCLA can compete. I want to see if they're number 2 ranked like they are right now. I want to see if Jaquez can step up and hit shots again like he did in their non-conference game. Juzang, let's see what he's built. Let's see what he's built for. I think he had a good tournament run. I want to see if he can keep it up against good teams. Jay Wright's going to have his team prepared. Villanova always plays good basketball. You know what I mean? They played good basketball the other night. They had 4 guys in double digit scoring. Colin Gillespie, he'll get hot. You know what I mean? He'll get hot. especially in those big games. I think he had like 13 points on like 5 for 12 the other night, but he's coming off an injury, a serious injury. I think that'll be a good game for sure.
I think, yeah. So my takeaway for this game as the look ahead was, like you mentioned, Gillespie was hurt. Villanova, they didn't get to where they wanted to because of that injury. I think they come out ready to play. I think UCLA, they're kind of riding high on last year's emotions, and they just beat CSU Bakerfield by like 50. So I think they're a little high on emotions, and I think Villanova. We saw good things from Justin Moore. Jermaine Samuels took the next step. Him and Justin Moore did. And like you said, Gillespie, he's going to hit shots. He's going to fill the stat sheet with assists. So I think Villanova with Jay Wright, I think they go into UCLA and take this one.
Yeah, I guess we can say who we think is going to win. I think Villanova wins. I think it's early. I think Villanova has stuff to prove as well. You know what I mean? Yeah, like you said, UCLA is riding high still. You never know. They could go in there and get punched, or they could go in there and put up a fight. I could be wrong though. UCLA could win. They do have veteran talent. You know what I mean? But I'm just not high on it. I'm not high on UCLA still. Like you said, I got to see him prove it again. I don't know what the spread is. You know what the spread is yet for that or no?
If I had to guess, I would probably say UCLA -4 because they're at home. But whatever it is, I would definitely take Villanova. Anything.
Villanova outright.
Yeah, exactly. But surprisingly for this next game, Texas, they opened as 8-point underdogs. That'll probably fall, but Texas 8-point underdogs, Gonzaga, I don't know. There was a couple question marks. They didn't really blow out Dixie State like we would hope they would, but so I think the biggest thing for this game was can the size of Gonzaga overpower the backcourt and speed of Texas, which I think it can, because I think Chris Beard, he's going to have a game plan to send guys at Timmy, to send guys at Holmgren, to send guys at Strother. I don't really think you can you can't send guys at Marcus Carr, Andrew Jones. They're just going to play too high pace. They're going to hit their shots, and I like Texas in this one.
Yep, for sure. I mean, I like I've been saying, I like Texas all the way in some instances without injuries. I think Texas can make a run for the Final Four, possibly the championship game. You never know. Gonzaga, I think they're a little overrated this year, honestly.
They are.
Obviously, they're riding high again, like you said. Same thing with UCLA, they're riding high, but they lost Suggs, they lost Ajayi, you know what I mean? They lost Kispert, key guys that get them wins, you know what I mean? That took them to that next level. So I think Chet Holmgren's going to come in and be Chet Holmgren. Timmy's going to be Timmy, but it's all up to the role guys, you know what I mean? The role guys off the bench, these newer guys for Gonzaga to hit shots. And I don't know. I'm going to take Texas as well. Doesn't matter what the points are. I think Texas wins.
Yeah, so we're on the same page. We were on the same page with the Champions Classic too. I second guessed myself though, took Kentucky, but we've been pretty spot on with these blockbuster games. So I definitely I'm probably the most confident in Villanova just because this is a prove it year for them. Gillespie, Samuels is probably the last year. They know they have to be good and they have to show it right away.
For sure. I think you just hit it spot on. Same thing for Texas. I think this is it's a new year for Texas, new coach. You know what I mean? I think this is another prove it year for Marcus Carr at a higher stage. He was kind of on Minnesota, wasn't really winning games. I think he's got to show that he can win a game. You know what I mean? So if they come in and win, I wouldn't be surprised though. Texas has got a lot of talent this year. Like I said, 6 double-figure scorers in their Houston Bats game. Obviously not going to happen all season, but it just shows that their bigs can be all right, which they're going to need them to be all right. They don't need them to be superstar bigs. Exactly. But Chet Holmgren, he's going to do some stuff. What do you think? Over under 4 blocks for Chet?
I mean, we know Ramey will do something out of control. He'll get to the cup. Or same thing. I'll say over, but at the same time, I don't know. I don't think this game means as much to Chet Holmgren as it does to guys like Andrew Jones, to Courtney Ramey, to Chris Beard, his first big game as a Longhorn. So I think the intensity and guard play of Texas is just going to be too much to handle for the Gonzaga team riding high off of last year.
For sure. I think that people are overlooking Texas's not really overlooking, but I think that I think that people are just praising Gonzaga too much. I don't think they got what it take to match up with Texas. Honestly, I'm just gonna be straight up honest. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But I'm gonna ride. I'm gonna ride that take. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I agree. But yeah, that's pretty much everything. Looking forward to a competitive weekend. We got a lot of top 25 teams playing again. We'll see who looks good. We'll see who
Yep.
gets upset.
Friday, Saturday will be big days for basketball.
Yeah, it'll be electric.
So for bets, I personally went 2-1. I think so. It wasn't a bad opening couple of days. You know what I mean? I didn't really
Yeah.
want to touch certain games because these big spreads, you can't really touch a lot of those big spreads.
Yeah.
But I was confident with what I put in. Ohio State sold me, but I shouldn't have bet Ohio State. You know what I mean? I was talking crap about them on the last episode. I shouldn't bet them, but
Yeah, that's on you. That's on you.
yeah.
You learn though.
Yeah, we'll be better. I should have put a Duke Kansas parlay in for like $100, and it would have paid out good. But
that was play of the night right there.
that was the play of the night. We said it on the last episode. We were both on Duke and Kansas outright, no matter what the spreads were.
Yep.
We were on them. Should have took a money line. That's on us. But at least we were right for the podcast. We're giving out knowledge. We're being knowledgeable. So
yeah, for sure. That's what we're here for. That's ultimately what our goal is.
For sure.
But
anything else you want to touch on?
I was just gonna say that. Nah, bro, I'm all good. I think we covered everything we wanted to, and I think we got everybody ready for the weekend.
Yeah, I think let me look what games. There's only one top 25 game. Yeah, Duke plays Army again. Alabama plays South Dakota State. Nothing crazy. Yeah. Let's see what Kentucky can do against Robert Morris, I guess. We'll see what they can do.
Yeah.
We need to see the teams that didn't step up these first couple of days step up. You know what I mean? Like, we need to see Houston blow teams like Rice out. Like, we got to see it.
Yeah. Well, that's what makes a championship team is, can you bounce back after a bad performance? And that's, that, like we said, that's what we'll find out this weekend. But I think everyone's going to have their eyes on Villanova, UCLA, and Texas Gonzaga. Should be electric.
For sure. Definitely should be electric. I just wanted to say one more thing. I was just thinking about it in my head. I think teams like Houston and Gonzaga, like, they made it far last year, but I'm not so sure they make it far this year. I don't know. I'm not liking what I'm seeing right now. Like,
no, I agree with you, which it sucks because I love Houston, I think Sasser's a great player, but in terms of just how their team is built, I don't see it, and I'm kind of disappointed I didn't highlight that in the first episode. But you never know. You never know what can happen.
For sure. So I think that about wraps up our episode.
Yep.
Episode 2, we're gonna be coming at you guys all season long, all the way until March. You know what I mean? So I think that was a good episode. I think there's a good slate to look forward to. So we're gonna be locked in on those games, and hopefully, win some money if we throw in some bets. I think we should pull the trigger this time on our bets. You know what I mean? You never know. So for sure, definitely a good episode.
That's it. Thanks for tuning in, everybody.
Yep. Thanks, everybody.